Andy,
Yeah,
what?
don't even try. Don't even try because it's going to be butchered like every single year of my life since first grade.
How do you say it? That's what I've read it for,
Okay,
we've been friends a long time. I
so-
see your name on Facebook and social media, but I'm like, I honestly don't have any clue how to pronounce it. Wouldn't even attempt to pronounce it. It's Andy from Sadboy.
It's Andy Sapinkopf.
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 I bet you got made fun of in school.
Yeah.
That's why I just call him Andy from Sadboy.
Hey, I get it. Dimitri was calling me cock ring last night, so Fig does too. So I get it. I get it, man. Well, you have been making the rounds here on social media. You guys at Sadboy, obviously doing a lot, man, making waves and doing good things. And you were kind of getting the pulse of the vape community yesterday, was you?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that not only do I care about the product I sell, but I also care about this industry a whole lot.
Right.
It really boils down to is that I always want to see this industry be able to progress, and I always want to see this industry do better for itself, just because, in 2013, 2014, that was the Wild West, man. We were out there running rampant. We didn't really have a whole lot of the things to worry about. But, as things came down the pipeline, more people were just kind of stuck and lackadaisical about, the advocacy portion, the fighting for our right to vape. And, then things trickled down the pipeline, and then people were like, oh, crap, I got to start doing some things,
Right. You're absolutely right. I know we spoke yesterday. I was on with you, and we went over a lot of things, but you were able to touch base with a lot of the leaders in the industry, a lot of people that are involved. And what would you say, give us, what would be the cliff notes from the information you gathered yesterday? Like, it's the outline from what, your thumb in the wind, trying to get a pulse of the industry that you gather from the people you spoke with.
So basically the information that we kind of gave over to give a synopsis of it is that, one, we were going over just the expos and how things are going and how people should be carrying themselves, especially with, yes, it takes time to get like a banner made, for your booth, but, progressively just accepting and normalizing the FDA warning requirements of this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Just making sure that at some point within the next couple shows, if you're doing the expo, just get it done. Figure it out.
It's better safe than sorry. That's where I'm at with it. I know the guys at Joey over at Prohibition, I know when I came in, he had his done. And, of course, that warning label was the first thing you noticed. It's
warning.
All lit up.
This product contains nicotine.
That warning.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
That one.
But the thing is, it still looked good. You know what I mean? And it's something that we're just all going to have to, like you said, get used to as this industry changes, and we're going to have to put it on there.
Well, I think eventually we and everybody will go eye blind to it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that eventually, if everybody's booth has it, then everybody's on the same playing field, and your eyes will eventually just do what it's going to do anyway, because your eye's not going to be drawn to that black and white warning. It's going to be drawn to whatever your graphic design of your label, your logo, things like that. That's what's going to pop off anyway. So,
well, and you know what?
If anything, the first thing I'm going to see at an expo is Rod's purple pimp shirt. That's
that needs a warning label on it.
That's a whole different kind of warning.
Well, I saw where, because we were talking about how much booths cost to have made and the time that it takes. You're looking at 3 weeks to a month to have a booth, made for you as far as if you go through the traditional means of having those made. And that's a lot of expense. It can run anywhere from $2,500, $5,000, what have you, on up and upwards, depending on how big you want it. But, of course, a lot of people, that's a lot of money and time that has to be invested in redoing these booths. I know Kyle Adolph from Cream Vapor, him and Sammy came up with a great idea. They had their warning where basically it was almost like a Velcro thing that they were able to take and put to the top of their booth just to make it compliant, and it still looked great. It worked. You know what I mean? It did not take away from the Cream Vapor booth at all. It looked fantastic, and they were able to just get that with a Velcro and stick it on. Of course, they have a cloth background, more or less, so it just stuck up there. But again, like you said yesterday, it's being creative, looking for creative ways to do that, And
let's celebrate what we've done for the economy of people like Ace Exhibits.
Yeah, right. Ace Exhibits should be kicking into advocacy.
Yes, they should be kicking something in, because those type of companies that make those displays are making bank off the vape industry right now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know alone our booth, the 10x20 that we just had made with, the frame, the two podiums, the tablecloth, and then the wrap cost us over $6,000.
Right.
And then to then approach them again and say, hey, we need to get this warning label put on there. They threw another number at $2,200. So we're almost looking at $10,000 for a booth.
You're looking at almost $10K. Yeah, just for a booth.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that we have to be very vigilant with it, and the thing is that a lot of these people thinking that they can just get an attachment made. I even found out new information that yes, that's going to be a Band-Aid fix for right now.
Right. It worked for last weekend, but you've got to get it fixed going forward, right?
Yeah. We actually have to get a new wrap made for our booth. And we are going to have to spend the whatever money it costs, but that doesn't mean that we have to go through the same company. We can find other companies that are more willing to work with us on the price, but eventually it's going to have to be done, which we're not against.
No, it's something we have to do. We just, unfortunately, it is, as this business industry becomes more and more professional, there's things that we have to do to comply, to transition into that. We can't expect it to go, it needs to be available to all smokers, but we don't want to change how it is. Well, it's kind of going to have to. It's just a necessity to reach mainstream America and become that thing that they look to as an alternative. And
that's a responsible alternative,
right? A harm reduction thing that just is accepted. It's not just a niche culture or a cliche. What have you.
And you know what? Shout out, to the crew at Mountain Oak Vapor, Steve up there. Created that thing. The Move Warnizer.
Yeah, the
little app where that way when you're doing stuff on the fly on social media, you can throw that on there and it's free.
Right.
Didn't charge anybody for that, so it's like thank you to them.
Yeah, that is very cool.
That's just looking out for the industry,
for everybody. Right.
And the other thing that I also learned, and something that we discussed is a good point, is that we need to start not only holding the vendors accountable for the warning label, but also the people that run these expos. These warning labels need to be on the advertisements, on the billboards that they put outside, the flyers, also the outside of the expo on their banners. Like for example, when you have a huge banner like Midwest did. This past Midwest, and they're going to probably do again because Evelyn and Dustin, they're great people, and they really care about this industry.
And actually, I can confirm that. Actually, I know for a fact that Dustin is working on like giant posters that'll be like at all the doors, and with the warning
on it and everything. Yeah, Dustin's out ahead.
He's already on point.
Yep.
See, and that's the type of stuff I like to hear because realistically, I mean, I get a lot of questions, and this is another point that was brought up yesterday, was that everybody's been questioning me and saying, hey, do I need to put the warning label on for this? Do I need to put the warning label for this type of post? Realistically, let's just make this easier on everybody else and say anything you post vape related, no matter if it's hardware, coils, whatever. Let's just normalize it and put a warning label on it.
Right. I mean, I'll be totally honest with you. Yesterday, I posted a picture up just of my girlfriend's mod that I happened in being funny, like, I took her mod. And this is on my personal Facebook account. Last night, it kind of hit me like, you know what? I should have put a warning on that. And I went back and deleted it, because it was like, you know what? Again, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And it's so easy for any of us as we make this transition to things that were normal. You were used to it being this way. Just being able, I took a picture and post. And, it wasn't vape radio related. It wasn't. And there was no e-liquid in the picture or anything. It's just me holding the mod. But still, I thought, you know what? It could be gray. You should take that down and get that, download that filter. I sent Pablo a text going, hey, what's the name of that app?
Yeah. Now, conversely, the Jeremy Burton T-shirt of you with the I went home, ate and fucked my girlfriend.
Right.
That doesn't need a warning.
That doesn't need a warning. Well, it may need a language warning, a PMRC warning.
Yes. Parental content.
No, it may need a warning that say warning, Rod's coming in hot, something like that.
Right. Hide your wife, hide your girlfriends. They raping everybody. But no, you're right. It just this industry just has, it's growing pains. Honestly, is what it is. It's growing pains, and some of these things are harder to do than others. And we all look back to our past days and go, oh, it was so great back then. But there were problems back then. I hate to hear that because I know back in the quote unquote golden days of vape that there were tons of bottles being thrown from the stage, and a consumer would come to a vape shop and not shop at their brick and mortar now for the next month and a half or 2 months because they had enough e-liquid and to last them for 2 months, and so there were negatives and things like that some of the things that happened at these vape conventions, were it just
who went to the vape show and every booth had strippers. Yeah.
Right. I don't want it to be lost in the fact that no, it's not this horrible thing. It has progressed. It needs to progress more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that these shows aren't still valuable. They're not still something that the local communities that we visit just look forward to. And I know that to me is one of the biggest things that I enjoy when we do shows. Unlike you, we don't have a product that we're there selling with Vape Radio, but when we go and just to meet the people that are local vapors there, that may have heard us. Or,
like this past weekend,
right,
Bacon came out. His very first vape show.
His very first vape convention. And, he listens to Vape Radio and he come out and he bought all the products he heard on Vape Radio and he's so excited. And to see the smile on his face and to interact with these guys, I remember when I first started vaping, and to feel that kind of welcomeness from a group in the quote unquote vape fam, is something I personally enjoy. But in order to do that, these companies have to make money like yours, or everybody there at the convention. So it's got to be worth their while. And in order to do that, we've got to be able to do it right. We've got to be able to do it right.
And I really urge, the vendors, come up with creative ways to pitch your stuff. We sold out of every single bottle of juice that we brought to the expo. Every single T-shirt that we had, we handed every single one out. All the hats that we brought, we sold it. And it wasn't because, yes, our juice is good. There's a whole ton of juices out there for people to try that people are going to love and want to buy and have a want and a need for. Right. But realistically, it's because we set ourselves apart with the way we handle ourselves at an expo, and we also do different things. I can't tell you how many people come up to our booth and the first thing they say, thank God you're playing metal music because that's what I listen to.
Right.
And it's just there's different ways to really draw the people in. And again, my reason for going to expos is obviously, yes, we have to make money and we have to sell product. But my favorite part is when somebody that I've never met or I've talked to over the internet for a couple years comes up to my booth. I get to hug them. I get to say, hey, what's up, man? Finally, great to meet you.
Right.
But then also these new smokers coming up with their friends that already vape and say, hey, look, all my friend vapes is Sadboy.
Right,
I've heard so much about this, and Key Lime Cookie helped me quit smoking.
Right.
All right, here you go. You know what? You buy one bottle, I'm going to give you another bottle in the house.
Right.
Well, it's really about the consumers at that point.
I do want to contradict you, though. We do know for a fact that it's not always metal music playing there.
No.
We went by that one time, and you were rocking old
Michael
school
Jackson. Yeah, we're holding hands. It was really sad because Michael's no longer with us. I guess that's where they get the sad boy from.
Yeah, we had to put.
Michael is the epitome of a sad boy.
Yes, he is.
And don't forget Macaulay Calkins. I'm sure he's even sadder at this point.
Yeah,
and Bubbles the chimp. No, you know what? As somebody that I've done vape shows for a while now, I know back when I was working with Cyclops Vapor, doing the director of marketing with Cyclops Vapor, and we did a lot of shows. The best advice I could give any e-liquid company out there, and this goes for everybody, if you're doing a booth, and one of the most important things you can have is people to work in that booth that have good personalities that can catch when people go by, stand on their feet. They don't sit down in their booth. No, they stand up and they greet those people as they're coming down that aisle, and hey, they make eye contact, and hey, how are you today? Hey, and really be genuine, not
outgoing,
not just a promo girl in a bikini going, hey, would you like to try a sample? Some of that's going to get, but you want to do it the right way. You need to make a relationship with those vapors. You know what I mean? And having that eye contact and good personality, somebody can get out and immediately break the ice with them and start talking to them. Get to know them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. My dad always told me that. And it's so true. And that is the best advice I could give any e-liquid or hardware manufacturer that's going to do a booth in any vape convention anywhere is the people that you have in that booth make all the difference in the world. I mean, I've seen great products with shitty people working the booth that didn't do anything. I've seen subpar products with great people working the booth that killed it, and vice versa. You know, it's just, I think that the people are what makes vape special, whether it's the consumers, the people that work in the industry, such as yourself, that's, you know, the advocates that come in town for it. That's really what makes it different, is we truly do care about helping these people and giving them alternatives, you know, and that right there makes all the difference in the world, where it's not like any other trade show that you may go to, you know?
Yeah, and you know, what I take from it is I take all of my experience about working behind a counter at a vape shop. I remember starting at my first vape shop in 2010 in the early days, and you know, we think it's hard now to sell products. I mean, you go back to 2010, you had like 3 different devices available that you could sell, and maybe 20 different lines of juice that you had available at your disposal. And realistically, what got people to buy the product and bring back that, you know, like that light, was the fact that who you were as a person, because your product sells itself. It's the individual that's selling the product is what you've got to really sell. Right. And, you know, I've taken that, and, you know, I just got back from a 3-month journey around the, you know, lower East Coast. And realistically, you know, another topic that was brought up is, you know, the shop etiquette and the people behind the counter and the people you deal with every day, is that, you know, I saw good instances of customer service where it was like an encyclopedia of knowledge. They were making sure they got the right setup. And then I definitely saw instances of shops that were doing people very wrong, where it was all about the sale. Like, where an experience that I had, you know, just as an example, is a guy came in, he's like, I've been vaping for 3 months and I've seen this mech mod that everybody's using. I'd like to start using it. And there was no question about Ohm's Law. Do you know how to build anything like that? And the guy was like, yeah, let me take you over to the counter and show you this like really expensive $300, you know, setup. And the guy ended up walking out. And what I did, and I took it upon myself, is said, hey man, you know, do you know how to use that thing? And he's like, no, I'm not. And I have no idea. So I sat there with him for about an hour and educated him on building a coil, you know, and you know, doing everything he needed to be safe. And you know, that's really what it comes down to, is watching what you do behind the counter, because, you know, we are not only in, you know, the health industry, but we're also in the safety industry. Right. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard when it comes to safety and everything when it comes to vaping, because, you know, is vaping a safer alternative to smoking? Right. Absolutely. Is it something that can be a smoking cessation device and help you quit? Yes. I'm big proof of that after a 2 to 4 pack a day habit 8 years ago. You know, but we also have to err on the side of caution in everything that we do, because we are under the radar. We are a big blip on the FDA radar right now. We're dinging.
You're right.
So and I'm glad to hear you've done that. I know my first experience walking into a vape shop, I've said it before, I walked into a vape shop in Pensacola, Florida, and literally walked in to check it out and was literally looked at like, why are you here? This is not for you. This is not.
This is our Xbox club, bro.
Right. Like, okay, I feel like I just walked into a situation where I'm
not
like,
wanted here.
What's really going down here? Because this must not be about vape, because they're really not. They're showing me every sign of like, get out of here, old guy. Yeah. You know.
It was also the same vibe as when you'd walk in an old school head shop, you know, and it's like, you don't look like you smoke weed, man. Right. Are you a narc? Right. I'm gonna be real polite, but I'm not gonna act like I really
No, it's true. How we interact with people, especially new people coming in looking for something that's an alternative to combustible cigarettes, it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, take that experience. If I'd have stopped there, I could have easily just went, you know what? I'm never going back. And I turned around, walked out, didn't buy anything. Just okay. I thought maybe this isn't the place for me. And the irony of that is that same very vape shop is, you know, requested having us come and do live events now at their vape shop. It's like, karma's a bitch, motherfucker.
And you know, and the big thing for me is that, you know, like I was reading some statistics the other day, and the average age of a vapor is 37 years old. That is the actual average age number. So realistically, it's not the younger generation getting into vaping. It's not a lot of the.
They're
older
the vocal minority, is what they are. The vocal minority. You hear them loud, but they're not the majority.
Well, and I think another issue of it is economics. You know, if the average vapor is 37, most 37-year-olds
have disposable income.
Well, but can't work at what a vape shop usually pays. At a retail clerk rate, so a lot of times,
well, I mean, as far as visiting, they're not hanging out at the vape shop either.
But so a lot of times,
often.
right? But so pay wise, there's going to be more of the younger end who can afford to, want that job enough that they can work for the lower rate that a lot of those shops pay, because a lot of those shops don't pay their clerks much of anything.
Right.
Some do. Some take real good care of their employees, but some don't. And and then it becomes you got a kid working for $8 an hour, and he's like, yeah, all my buddies come up here and we just hang out and bullshit, and we don't do any real customer service.
An old guy like me walks in.
Right, they're not experienced at what they do, and they don't have an investment in that particular shop. Where when you walk in a shop where the owner's sitting behind the counter, you're almost assuredly going to get a different level of service.
Right.
Because he's invested in that thing.
And I had a gentleman on there named Terry yesterday. I wanted to get the perspective of somebody who manages and runs a shop. And Terry gave us a lot of really great information. And one of the things that, I've noticed with a lot of these shops is you walk in and, like you said, you see the younger generation behind the counter. And, I remember, I did some college, back in my heyday after high school. But realistically, what I did when I started doing the vaping thing and I started getting offers to go work at shops, number one, I was doing my research on who was working there and how they conducted business. But the other thing that I did was I kind of gave myself a collegiate course in vaping. I went on the internet, I went on YouTube, I went to a bunch of different blogs and websites and really researched. And, anytime a new product comes in, I really stress these vape shop employees is that when you get these big shipments, I know it's a pain in the ass to, put them away. But also, that day on your downtime, don't worry about playing Fortnite or Call of Duty or PUBG. Go on a YouTube review and watch a reviewer.
Get some education,
guys. Like, get yourself an education in this stuff. I watch a lot of reviewers online, and the main person that I really watch is Grim Green. Not only on the fact that he knows what he's talking about, and you can really tell he cares about the industry.
Yeah, he
does.
The
fact is another point that we have to bring up is these shops really getting into the advocacy portion. I mean, I know if I owned a business and I owned a vape shop, what I would do is I'd say, hey, guys, there's this thing called CASA. Right. And if you go online right now in front of me and sign up, it takes less than a minute, and it's free, and you're going to get a very nice education and a set of emails from these people telling you what's going on in the industry for the consumers. I will give you 10% off your purchase.
Boom.
There you go.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
And it is something that, we really need to pay attention to. I can't tell you how many advocacy panels I've watched in the past, 6 months to a year, and it's been super informational. If it wasn't for advocacy panels like you guys have at these shows, we wouldn't know what's going on, and we would just be so ignorant that we'd be sitting at home, and then one day we get this thing coming down the pipeline like, hey, guys, we can't vape anymore, and we go, what?
Bingo.
Absolutely. Exactly. And you know what? Honestly, that's who I would challenge more than anyone is the vape shops, because if anything, I can tell you in this industry right now, there was a time when the manufacturers kind of were dictating the cost because they hey, if you want this is what you got to do, this is how you have to sell it, yada, yada. That's flipped now that the market is so saturated with companies selling e-liquid that the shops have all the power now. And I'm looking at, are we getting to the point where we have to pay them $1 to take a bottle? I mean, It's getting ridiculous. You literally have to kiss the owner's ass and this, that, and the other, and play all those little games just to make him go, yeah, I'll put you on the shelf with the other 150 brands that I have. And I would think that, you know what, guys, you guys are making good money right now in vape shops. And if you're not signed up with your local and state advocacy, you're not doing it right, and you're doing a disservice to this industry. You're just taking money out of it without putting back. So if you're not involved in your vape shop, I think now is the time to step up your game, because you may not be here. Juul is starting to take over a big portion of this market, and you know what? You need to be able to fight for your end of the market too, and that means getting involved with advocacy. I don't mean like fighting Juul, but I'm saying protecting at least that, you know what? If they take all away and just leave it up to the big boys, then yeah, you're probably not going to have a brick and mortar because they would love to cut you out of it. You know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they would love you be able to go directly into a gas station and buy what these people would want. And so I think you need to get involved with the advocacy if you're a shop owner. You need to. It's not. You should. It's no. You definitely need to.
Yeah. It's not even something that's a choice anymore.
And there's new shops popping up every day, and it's like we called yesterday, and they were like, "Are you a member?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And then would come to find out it wasn't his fault. But I think a lot of people maybe were members, assume they're. It's like double check that. Make sure if you're working in a vape shop, ask the owner of the vape shop, are we members of our local advocacy?
If not, why not?
Right, exactly. If not, why not? And get in touch with us. We would love to. If you don't know who to reach in your state, we would love to point you in that direction.
And even if your state has no advocacy group,
we can help you start one.
Right, there are plenty of people who would love to give you the whole playbook.
Right.
Here's how you start your state advocacy group.
Right.
Here's everything step by step.
Bill Wickstrom,
turnkey.
I know Zach Carpenter with the BEAA, or Bill Wickstrom in Mississippi. There's lots of companies, advocacies that would love to help you get involved and help you get set up. I know Louisiana just did, and that's needed.
Hell yeah.
It can't be all on just the manufacturers as far as stepping up to the game to contribute to advocacy. It has to be the shops and I would say even vapors. Honestly, I mean.
Yeah, in most industries, it shouldn't have to fall on the consumer. But you know what?
And this one, it does.
It's probably gonna,
because there's not. We have to have the numbers, and as in some other industries, like say the clothing industry, there's way more numbers there.
Right.
It's easier to get by.
They're
with
not
just
under the same level of attack that we're under,
and they have larger groups. So it's just we have to bond together and support advocacy. I know,
and they don't wear as many black T-shirts.
Right. Oh, that's a good thing.
And the other thing that I stress is that another issue that we talked about yesterday, and I watched a live feed last night, and it was about the high nick and the pod devices. I use a high nick pod device. Do I use very high nick? No, it's around the 25 to 28 realm, but that's because I was a high stress smoker, and even after 8 years, I'm still having to curb cravings, and that's what this vaping thing's here for. But we have a lot of issues right now with, Juul owning 76% of the market with the closed system pod devices, that I think that us as shops and us as companies, we really need to take a stand and really just say, all right, look, us as vape shops, when Juul went around and did the audit and they walked around to vape shops, smoke shops, gas stations, the vape shops were the lesser of the few bunch to fail, IDing people and making sure that people were of age and were able to vape legally.
Right.
The biggest problem that I see is these smoke shops and these gas stations, they don't care about vaping.
No. Oh, God. You want that over there? Okay, there you go. There that is. I'm just selling it. I don't even know what it is. Just you want it.
Again.
Exactly.
Right. I work here for minimum wage. Just tell me what you want.
You need $10 on pump 4, and you want one of these Juul things. Okay.
Which one? You want the brown one or the red one?
Right. Which one you want? Okay.
Right. And I did a little market research myself, and I went into a Wawa that's like right down the street from my house, and I wasn't wearing any vape attire, I wasn't wearing any gear, and I walked in there and I said, hey, I've been smoking for 10 plus years. I've heard a lot of things about this Juul. Can you tell me a little bit about the product? And the guy literally said to me, oh, it's a battery, and there's this pod, you click it together and you suck on it. Right. And that's literally all he could tell me about the device.
Right.
And that's a problem. That's a huge problem because, with us being under the radar, and it's really sad when I hear from my little cousin, he calls me, he's like, I want a vape. And I said, well, you're not old enough to do that. Why are you asking me about vaping? I'm glad to educate you on it and let you know what you're in store for when you turn 18. But, why are you asking? He's like, because I see all my friends inhaling on this thing in class. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me? Like these kids in the developmental growth in their brain and their life are getting a hold of nicotine. And I mean, yes, we have a very large amount of younger generation people smoking cigarettes. It's how the world works. It's how the world is. Yeah. But now, what we're having to do at shops, because Juul is very addicting, it's now turning from a large percentage of the people that are coming in shops, we now have to put them on a different device because we have to get them less addicted to a Juul.
Right.
It's not. It is always going to be about the new smokers or the new vapors and the people that are trying to quit smoking. That is the number one most important customer you will ever deal with in your entire vaping experience. But now you have a very large percentage of people where you have to be like, okay, what are you using? Oh, I'm using a Juul. I'm waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning while I'm half asleep hitting my Juul. All right. Here's what we need to do. We need to put you on, a Zenith tank or something like that you can put 12 to 18 milligram free base nicotine, so we can start weaning you down so you can get to a 3 or a 6 or something normalized that, is going to help you continue to vape and continue to curb your cravings. But it's so funny to me, and it's so scary that this is what we're looking at right now.
Well, like I said, it's a long war. Many battles are going to be fought. Some won, some lost, but in the end, we've got to win the war. And I think you guys, I'm proud to see you guys. I remember your very first show. I remember seeing you with a tent set up and everything. And you guys have come such a long way, and appreciate to see what you guys are doing, the changes that you're making. I give you kudos on that. But you just keep doing what you're doing. And you brought up a good point about the advocacy, how great it was at the show this past weekend. I think we should replay that. It's Friday. Yeah. We were speaking earlier about greatest hits. There's something that'd be great. Maybe play that advocacy panel from NVE. So, but thank you very much for calling in, brother. Take care. Hope you have a great long weekend.
And props to you for bringing up a Wawa. We were in Virginia, and I had not seen a Wawa in years.
Right?
Yeah,
I thought that was something with a guitar. It's a Wawa pedal.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a song that mentions the Wawa coming up. That inspired me.
Okay. There you go. Well, thank you guys for having me on. Thank you for giving me an outlet to really speak my mind, and you guys keep doing what you're doing.
All right,
Anytime, brother. You're always welcome. Thank you, man. Sad boy.
Keep making people happy, boys. Yeah.
Yes, sad boy makes people happy, boys.
Happy end.
Happy endings.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.